Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also talk about how we're going to fix it together. Now, the content that we're going to dive into on this episode of the Bullet Points is specifically how California has reintroduced a failed piece of legislation all around the concealed carry laws, again, in California. Now, this is a lot of nuance, there's a lot of history here, and there's a lot of new stuff. We've got to talk about it, and we're going to break it down right now. Everything will be linked in the description box below per usual, and if you are new, we would love to have you subscribe, like the video if you agree or like the content. We would love to have as many people as we can to get in the fold so we can pass the blessing on to the next generation, and thank you so much in advance for your consideration. But the sponsor for today's video, guys, is Core Belts, Gun Belts, Accessories. Core. This is an amazingly good product. I've used their belts for about a year now, and I can personally vouch for their quality. They're very comfortable, they are strong, and they are reliable. Now, they have a hidden track with over 40 size positions that you can adjust on the move, and the result is a perfect fit. The stiff power core center provides total support for your firearm and keeps it completely secure. It's made with the best quality materials and warranted for a year, and my personal recommendation, if you are looking for a belt that will last a while and is efficient, the Core belt is a good one to look at. There's a link in the description box below, and thank you so much to Core for making this content possible. But my brothers and sisters, we have got to dive into this because this is a never-ending fight, particularly in California. Now, as we go forward, keep in mind, what we've been covering over the last 6 to 12 months has been the blue states trying to reclaim some power because Bruin stripped it away from them. Keep that in mind. Yes, these are infringements. Yes, this is an attack on the Second Amendment, but they are on hard defense. Check this out. California Democrats bring back concealed carry bill in a renewed push for gun safety. So this is the exact same bill that we saw fail a couple months ago in the California legislature before it basically adjourned for the year. If you'll recall, they had to get 2/3 vote and they missed it by 2 votes, which basically put it on hold. Now, what they've done in this new bill is they've taken the worst parts of almost every other state. New York, New Jersey, kept the California pieces. There's a lot of stuff we're about to walk through, but this is important to understand because what they're trying to impose here is not a good look for freedom. A California lawmaker will make another attempt to shore up the state's concealed carry gun laws after following a U.S. Supreme Court decision that struck down key provisions. Of course, talking about the Bruin decision. Senator Anthony Portino, Democrat Burbank, introduced his bill on December 5, the first day of the new legislative session, after his last concealed carry measure narrowly failed in the Assembly during the final hours of the last lawmaking term. Now, we did a video on that when it failed. If you recall, Newsom and Bonta, they were running around trying to find 2 more votes, and they couldn't find it in California. That tells you how bad this is. Now, a lot of the reasons that it failed initially was 1, it was dramatically unconstitutional and there was questions about the legality. 2, there was not a lot of specificity. They were just trying to pass something by throwing it against the wall. And the third thing is, Gav just wanted a victory and he's kind of short on those recently. So let's just keep going because that's kind of what laid out the groundwork prior to where we are now. Portantino told the Sacramento Bee that Senate Bill 2 in its current form is a spot bill, or a placeholder measure that will be amended with more specific language in the future. He said he remains committed to getting it passed. So he put a bill in place. It's just a spot holder, and it doesn't even have any specificity in it. It's just something that they're going to get passed, and they're going to add language to it later. This hurts. They are so desperate to get a gun control bill passed around concealed carry laws that they're going to put a placeholder bill in. They're going to have no text or language to put into it yet. It's going to be roughly based on the first one, but they'll amend it as it goes forward when it comes up for a vote. They just had to get it in. It's essentially what just happened. But let me show you a few of the things of why it would not work and what they were trying to do. The new bill doesn't contain specific language yet, but Portantino's measure from 2021 to 2022 session would have set permitting standards that fall within the Supreme Court's new requirements. That is subjective, but here's some of the things. Concealed carry permit holders would need to be 21 or older, receive at least 16 hours of firearms training, undergo a background check, and obtain character references. Now, like I said, that's kind of a mix match of a few different things. You got a little bit of New Jersey in there, you got a little bit of Chicago, New York from the training requirements. Then you have the new training stuff, the New York stuff that's obtaining character references, which is ironic because that has been struck down as unconstitutional in the New York federal court system, and then the second appellate court kind of says, we'll allow it, but we'll see what happens. It's still up in question, but they're going to do it anyway. This is about getting a victory. This is not about making something that makes sense. Anyway, let's keep going. It's the same things happening in New Jersey, New York, and California now. It would also have banned firearms from some spaces entirely, including schools, courts, government buildings, prisons, hospitals, airports, sports arenas, churches, libraries, and businesses that serve alcohol. Residents could not bring guns into privately owned businesses unless there are signs specifically allowing them. Does that sound familiar? This is the New York element. They are taking the model, even though most of it has been ruled unconstitutional, from the New York model and putting it into this Californian model. These gun control regimes are all a hive mind. They are figuring out what they can get away with and they can't, and that's what you're going to end up with. You've got New Jersey, New York, California, and Illinois all trying to figure out what they can squeak by and what they can't, and they're in the process of finding really an infringing equilibrium is what they're chasing. But got one more thing for you. It's unclear whether SB 2 will also need to meet the 2/3 threshold. It is currently labeled non-urgency, which means it would not take effect until 2024. Now keep in mind, one of the reasons they needed a 2/3 threshold in California was because they made it an urgent matter, and they couldn't get it. So if they make it a non-urgent matter and they get a lesser requirement of votes, does it pass then? That's kind of where we're at right now. So as of now, it's been introduced. They're trying to get back on the old hamster wheel, if you will, of gun control, and that's what I've got for you guys. Not a lot of actionable, but a lot of information, something to be watching, and we will keep an eye on it on Langley Outdoors Academy. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the episode tonight. I'm Braden. See you later.